welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the podcast, and happy to be with you live here on Facebook, live here on all the socials. Proud member of the Education Podcast Network, Voice Ed Radio Canada, or wherever you are taking in the podcast, whether it's down in Texas today, home state of today's guest, Dr. Jeff Springer, or you're up here in the Northeast. Maybe you're out on the Oregon coast, wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in and being part of Education, Leadership, and Beyond. I want to get started quickly with today's sponsor. If you've been with me, you've heard IXL, you've heard about the work they're doing in schools. Let's hear a quick word from IXL. Hey friends, Andrew Murata here, Surviving and Thriving. And I want to thank today's sponsor for the podcast, IXL. Discover the power of data-driven instruction in your school with IXL. It is the most widely used online learning and teaching platform K through 12. It gives you everything you need to maximize learning, from a comprehensive curriculum to meaningful school-wide data. And IXL's diagnostic is research proven to be a strong predictor of performance on standardized assessments, including NWEA, MAPS, STAR, iLearn, just to name a few. And the best part, everything I just mentioned is all integrated into one platform, so you can simplify your ed tech tools. Visit IXL.com to lead your school towards data-driven excellence today. The link is in the show notes. And again, I want to thank IXL for sponsoring Education, Leadership, and Beyond. All right. Thank you, IXL. And again, that link is in the show notes. Let's get started. It's fall. Fall is in the air up here in the Northeast. Kind of school, that first page of school. I know, Jeff, in Texas, you're on the second page. But here in New York, we're only on the first page. And we're kind of the first few weeks of school. So we're kind of settling in, which is a great time of year. But the opening concept is an acronym, right? I'm a father. Jeff is a father, grandfather, dad. And that's a part of Jeff's book here. We're going to get into it. Hashtag Dad Prep. But daily, active, and devoted. It's an acronym there. I love it, Jeff. And it really got me thinking, right? What do I do daily? What am I active about, right? What do I want to take action on? What are the things I want to do with my time and attention? And then certainly, what am I devoted to, right? Who are the people in my life I was devoted to? Right away, we're going to meet Jeff Springer in just a minute. I noticed right behind him, right away, all the pictures of family and the people most important in his life. So it's a simple acronym, but it really can dial you in on what you're doing, whether you are a father or just a leader in your family, man, woman, grandpa, uncle, aunt. Daily, active, and devoted. What are the things that you are doing daily? What are you taking action on? Where are you active? What are you doing? Where are you going? How are you getting there? All of those kinds of things towards that good momentum in your life. And then certainly the devoted. What are you devoted to in your journey? So I love it. Let's meet the author of that and welcome in from Texas, Dr. Jeff Springer. Jeff, welcome.
Andrew, it's awesome. It's awesome to be here. I feel like I've been in the locker room, and then I came out. I was in the tunnel, and I'm just ready for you to let's go, brother. Let's go.
Let's go. This is Dr. Jeff Springer again, coming to us from Texas. Jeff, I mean, I'm already going to schedule you again because we just don't have time to talk about all the things you've been part of and the work you're doing. And dad, grandpa, author, former principal, or as you say, repurposed high school principal, a leader of play, a leader of so many different things. Talk to me about all these hats, Jeff, and the things that you're doing there, all these roles. Talk to me about these things in your life here.
Well, Andrew, I am blessed. I'm so blessed. I never worked. First of all, I never really worked a day in my life. But our work is play, and so again, whether it's been in education or in ministry, I don't know. God has just continued to provide opportunity for me. And I just got to keep moving in this repurposed life. I repurposed after 34 years in education.
Wow.
My last 14 years as the principal at one high school, at the Magnolia High School in Magnolia, Texas. It was really hard for me to walk out the door in 2016 on June 10th. I remember the day well.
Wow.
But Andrew, I walked out of one thing I loved and into another. And I think that's what that's what I had to do, or I would still be there. And that was just down the street where I had been part-time during all my principal years on staff as well at a church down the road. And so I went full-time there. And so I've done a lot of things. I cannot believe this is year 9 that I've been out of the principalship. And yet, I think I'm more busy in different ways, and as I was when I went to work every day, when I went to play every day at the Magnolia High School.
I love it, Jeff, and that passion and that enthusiasm. Still doing it today in some different realms. So talk to me, Jeff. Talk to me. There's the ministry, there's writing, you're speaking, you're observing student teachers. Talk to me about kind of how rewarding is it for you, and which one right now? Being a grandpa, I know you on pickup duty. That's a big time job there.
Yeah.
Talk to me about which one's most rewarding for you right now.
Yeah, I always joke that if I could make a living just being grandpa, if I had to make one choice in this stage of my life, that would be it. But I'm fortunate, Andrew, that there are some men and women that search their whole life for that one thing or that purpose. And my issue is I've got to figure out how to narrow it down, because I still have one foot in education. I do some consulting, executive coaching with aspiring leaders and principals, assistant principals, through my LLC called Spring Strategies. But then I also work at a university, my alma mater, Sam Houston State University in Huntsville, Texas. I supervise, as you mentioned. They're in their what they call their clinical teaching year. It's an internship, their last year to become a teacher. So they're placed in school districts in the surrounding Houston area, and I have 16 teachers that I observe, and wow. In 2 different districts, 14 campuses. So what it does is it gets me, I'm still on the campus. I don't have to stay on the campus though. I get to leave, but I get to see a lot of different protocols, a lot of great things happening, keeps me kind of in the loop. So that's the educational realm. And then, as you know, I have a nonprofit called Suit Up Ministries and the Dad University. And where my passion there is a crossover is on men that are fathers, encouraging them to be the dad. And so, again, a lot of things I balance. I used to tell I don't know if there is such a word, a term as trivocational. I mean, I know there's bivocational, but I've never just had 2 jobs. And so I mentor assistant principals on one hand, I supervise student teachers on the other hand, and then I get to encourage men to be the dad.
Awesome, Jeff. We need it. We need it now more than ever. And kudos to you for doing this work. Talk to me. What are some common themes, Jeff, that you might talk to a young teacher about, but maybe later you're having coffee with a father? What are some common threads that go through your message?
Well, every time I meet with my student teachers as a group, as a cohort, I one of the questions in reflection is, what are they doing to take care of themselves? Where's the balance in their, are they taking care of themselves? Are they spending time with those people that they love, the most, that care about their journey, and what's their health like? And then the other part of that is also making sure that within your media focus, you are also having long-term goals, regardless of what your role is. Role as a dad, your role as a teacher, that you're always growing.
Yeah. Jeff, you mentioned about, I should narrow it down. And I've had people say that to me too. But I feel like, do you put all your efforts in this one bucket of helping dads, and it's great. And then meanwhile, you got these teachers over here that need help, like I think it's great what you're doing there, reaching a wide audience. I don't know if you should narrow it down. How does it feel to be with these different groups? And now you're preaching on Sunday, and now you're in a classroom on Monday, and then you're at a dad retreat on Monday night. How does it feel to be within these different groups?
Well, I think it keeps me connected, Andrew. It's really easy to leave a profession and then completely shut the door. And I think there's so many things that we have left to give.
Yeah.
In that repurposing, when people, I don't like to use that other word, that other R word. I tell people that when you put me in the ground one day and I pray that maybe a few people gather and say a few nice words about me, that's when I will be retired. But until then, I've got to keep moving because, we have only so many more days. I mean, we're only guaranteed today. There's no guarantee for tomorrow. And so, but I think what happens, Andrew, and maybe you can relate to this a little bit, is as we get older, we start projecting ahead. And, and when you have grandkids, I'm going to tell you, my game changer was when my first grandchild was born, when I turned 57, and Tessa K is her name. And all of a sudden I started thinking, will I be there when she graduates from high school? Will I be there when she graduates from college or gets a job or starts a career or starts a family, or has children herself, And so you start calculating forward, when you're young and you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s or even in your early 50s. I'm 65. You think you have all the time in the world. And then you look up and a decade is gone. I mean, it seems like literally yesterday that I turned 50. I remember when my dad turned 50 and I thought he was ancient. And I'm 15 years older than that. And I go, pardon my French, did that happen? How the heck did it happen? But we can't. So the only decision we have to make is, what are we doing from this point forward? We can't change always the past, but we can start today, to influence our future. And so that's what I tell dads a lot of times that maybe need reconciliation, or they feel like they've gone too far with their kids, or they've made too many mistakes. Again, they can't turn the clock back. You can't all of a sudden reinsert your picture in the photo album, all that kind of, but you can start today. Mm-hmm. And we really believe that. And it's the same with teaching. It's the same way with, wherever we are in our careers, we can turn the page and make the most. Well, I used to tell my seniors, don't count days, make every day count. Mm. And, seniors think, oh my gosh. And I said, I'm going to tell you, hopefully you only have one senior year. That's the prayer, that you only have one senior year, but don't wait till the spring to start enjoying it. Don't wait till the spring to start preparing for it, for the rest of it, and because you're going to look up and you go, oh my gosh, I'm fixing to graduate. And now what? So I think it's our job. I think it's been my job to, I love to develop people at all ages, as in all groups. And it gives me purpose. It gives me passion. And obviously I love to talk about those things. And it drives me, it gives me energy. And, I'm just grateful for an opportunity to share today.
Yeah. And I can feel that energy way from Magnolia, Texas, here in New York. I can feel it. I love it. If you are watching the show live, jump in, say hello, have a question for Dr. Springer or myself, and get involved in the show. That's one of the things I like about that this show is live. Jeff, you've worked with dads 17 plus years. You've worked with them your whole life, but through Suit Up Ministries and Dad's University, 17 years. Looking back, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen or heard from other men? And then what are some of the biggest things that you've learned and or you've shared with them to maybe counteract some of those challenges?
Yeah. Well, I really have this this heart for all men, but specifically, urging those men that are fathers to be that dad and not to wish the time away. That, again, as I mentioned, you're going to look up, you're going to think that those, as they lead the elementary years, those are the fastest years of your life. I will tell at freshman orientation every year, I would tell the parents that came to freshman orientation, and those might be the last time I see some of those parents until graduation, because they tend to come, to that freshman orientation, and you have them collective there, 600, 800 of them in the auditorium. And every year I challenge them to be as involved in their high school children's lives the next 4 years as they have demonstrated by their presence here today at this event. Don't think just because a kid makes it to high school that you're done. Even when you have younger siblings, the high school kids still need you. And so I have a heart for secondary. That's where, I spent, 31 out of 34 years in high school, not counting my own 4 years. And the first 3 years I was in a middle school, and I loved it too. But so all in secondary. And now, ironically, I supervise most of my student teachers in elementary.
Wow.
I got the full appreciation. But I would just say to them, enjoy every season of being the dad, because be careful what you ask for. Never wish those years away. Even the laundry, even the traveling, even the dirty clothes on the floor, even the unmade beds, even all those things that you just, even the noise in the house, because before you know it, all of that will be gone. And I have a 35 and a 36-year-old, and, they're still, I have one boy, one girl, and my son at 35 is still my precious little boy, and my daughter is still my precious little girl. And even at that age, you're once a dad, always a dad. But you don't mourn their next stage. You mourn that those years.
Yeah.
Because it does. There are other things to look forward to always, but when you're an empty nester for the first time, you look at your wife and you go, are we done? I remember like it was yesterday when we dropped my son off. Even though they were only 15 months apart, they were 2 years in school. So there was so it was Carly, my daughter at the college, and then my son. And then I literally driving home from University of Houston in the freeway, and getting in the car, I look at my wife, and it's like, we're not done. It feels like we are. Like done. Like I wasn't like, oh my gosh, we're done. It was like, oh, are we done? Wow. And I remember when my daughter went to school for the first time, I called my dad. And I think it was the first time after, when we get in the car as a student and drive off, we are so self-absorbed, and we don't think about our parents going back into the house and being sad. We have a little anxiety of our, the unknown. We're all about, it took me until my own daughter went away to college to call my dad and say, she's gone. How did you do that?
Wow.
How did you do that? But anyway, enjoy every season, and remember those milestones, and just cherish those moments.
Beautiful, Jeff. Beautiful advice. Again, if you're watching the show live, jump in and please say hello. Jeff, you have an upcoming talk at a national conference, and you called it a TED Talk. Is it an actual TED Talk that's going to be at the conference? Talk to me about the message, and then I want to hear about prepping for that talk. So, what's your message at this upcoming national conference for men?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the Friday evening is a keynote speaker, and then three of us that are doing a TED Talk at like a 9-minute, 10-minute. I'm going to be really challenged in that because I can barely introduce myself in 9 minutes. But anyway, and then there's sessions, regular breakout sessions all day Saturday. So it's a National Coalition of Men's Ministry to Men. And it's in Kansas City, Missouri, November 14th to the 16th. And I'm speaking on Friday night. So I'm just very honored to be one of the three. So my topic, I know this is going to be really surprising to you, is called "Where Are the Dads?" But the twist in the TED Talk is really where are the churches? It switches from where are the dads to in the middle of it. So where are all the churches in this? So my premise is that it's not enough to have men's ministry in church. It's specifically why go after the men that are fathers, to be the dad. Why is that? Where are the church in this? Why are we not more intentional in this? And then talk about what are the benefits of going after the dad beyond just a comprehensive. I believe that you can't have a comprehensive men's ministry without specifically focusing on the dads. There has to be a lane, I am a men's minister, but my lane, the lane that I like to travel in is, obviously, as you can tell, my heart for men that are fathers to be the dad. We have a lot of fathers out there. We have a lot of fathering going on that are biological fathers, but as anybody can be a father. Almost anybody can be a father, but not everyone chooses. It's a choice to be the dad, and that's that daily act of devotion. That's going the beyond. That's meeting the responsibilities that God has given us by giving us the gift of the children in our life. And I will say there might be lots of men, that hear. I pray that there's lots of men that hear this message today, and they go, "Well, what if I'm not a father, a biological?" Well, there's bonus dads, there's neighborhood dads, there's uncles, there's dad figures. Every child. This is where it crosses over to my education. Every child in your building needs the influence of a positive male role model. And that's until I became a dad, my favorite title was coach, but I think that every kid's first coach should be their dad.
Beautiful, Jeff. Again, well said. Jeff, here's a great tool I use when I'm speaking like that. It's a little timer, and you throw it right on the stage, right in front of you, so it's there. Great little tool. You can get it on Amazon. Talk to me about the prep. You're out speaking. You're a lifelong educator. People are afraid of speaking in public. You are not. What is the preparation for that segment, for that big talk?
Well, it is practice. I mean, I'm not really. I mean, you would maybe not know that by our conversation here today. Obviously, it's easier to talk about those things that you're passionate about. I would go along. I'm going to Kansas City, Missouri to talk about, from Texas to talk about what's most important, or one of the most important things, in my life. And that's to encourage men, again, to be the dad. And so the preparation takes time and practice and intentionality and, really trying to think about what is it that we need to hear, what would resonate, that they hear that one thing. What is that one thing, that maybe, and so that's why I hope that this twist from going from where the dads to where the church is, because most of the audience that will be present there are practicing men's ministers.
Yeah.
It's that's what the organization is for, is to support men that are doing men's ministry work across this country in different, whether they're nonprofits or in the church themselves. And but mine is bringing it back to the church, because we, honestly, there, if churches were doing some of these things, there would be less need for nonprofits. I think. And I'm part of a church, so that has allowed me to do some of my laboratory work. A lot of parallels, overlap.
Yeah.
But I think I still get frustrated with the church itself not acknowledging that if we encourage men in general to be at church, then all the other ministries like youth and children and family will be strengthened. But I also know what is most visible, and what's most visible are the children's ministry. And most young families that come to a church for the first time, their first question typically is not, tell me about the men's ministry. It's, tell me about music, tell me about missions, tell me about children and youth. But all of those things can be bolstered and reinforced if you have a strong men's ministry.
Yeah. Well, good luck in the talk. That's exciting for you. Jeff, again, dad, husband, grandpa, coach, former repurposed principal, but you're also an author. There's a lot of people that listen to this podcast, watch the podcast, that want to be an author. And here you are. Here's this book, #DadPrep, Preparation for Legacy. I love it. I love the format, Jeff. I sense a lot of similarities between you and I. Talk to me about starting this book, the concept of the book, and then how'd you do it? How'd you write the book?
Yeah. Well, it was not, when I started writing, Andrew, it really was not towards a manuscript for a book. That was not the initial. I think I always had a book in me, but that was not really the intended goal. What happened during COVID for many of us as Americans, I'm sure there are others out there listening that started questioning maybe their own mortality. With all the tragedy around us. And then I attended, what kind of amplified that is I attended one of my former students' funerals. And so God laid on my heart, he said, not only my own question, acknowledging my own mortality, and then this loss of the student, and being in the midst of this global pandemic and not really knowing what the world was going to be like as we, kind of waded through this. God said, he gave me one word, and it was prepare. And so I started writing for every week for 52 weeks in 2021, a blog. And and Andrew, I sat down one day and I just wrote as many random words in terms of what I thought would parallel what it means to be prepared as a dad, different attributes of what it means to prepare to be the dad, and prepare your heart, prepare your vision, prepare, idea of persevering, and all these different, and they were all random. And in the book, if you look at the table of contents, the chapters don't really build on each other per se. There's a couple, because I talk about mission, vision, and goals. Well, those three chapters really kind of go together. Yes. But I would say, okay, Lord, what are we writing about this week? And I would go, okay, the next word on the list. And so I didn't know that was going to be, so literally it took me a year to write the book, but I didn't know I was writing a book. And then at the end I go, oh my gosh, we not only have these lessons that we turned into small group questions. I thought, I'm going to tighten this thing up, and I think I can and so it became a manuscript in 2022. And then in January 2023, we released it on Amazon. And now I'm proud to say it's in Spanish and English.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't have a Spanish version with me, but if you go to Amazon, #DadPrep, there's both versions. And so that came out in March or April. So we hope that obviously expands our audience, and the goal is to get the book in the hands of every dad, in churches and outside of churches. It does offer, each chapter does have one or two scriptures, but the book is so again, it's application. It's biblical principles. I had a friend of mine who's also in men's ministry, and he read the book. He goes, "I can tell, Jeff, that you're a coach because you write like you're a coach." I'm a simple man, Andrew. It is not eloquent writing. It's very simple, and I hope that men pick it up, and even if you just pick it up and you open it up, wherever reflection. Why is it important for a dad to reflect? Dads today, we must be willing to travel on this road of reflection, testing ourselves for continuous growth with a pursuit of emulating Jesus. I mean, that's just, and for those of you that don't like to read, there's some really big, bold on every other page, so even if you just even if you sit it by your bed at night and it's not cover to cover, and you just open it up and read wherever the pages open, and maybe you get one thing that helps you be a better dad.
Beautiful there. Hashtag dad prep. Dr. Jeff Springer. Kudos, Jeff. And again, all kinds of concepts: equip, reflect, evaluate, serve, letters, acknowledge, yearn. I picked out week 46, detour. I loved it. Life is full of detours. Talk to me about this concept here, week 46, detour.
Yeah, I mean, we have our best laid plans, but even a pilot has a flight plan, but a lot of times in midair, it changes. And so you have a choice, and you pivot just like we did through, global, one of the many things global pandemic trained all of us, or taught all of us, is that we need to repurpose, pivot, adjust, readjust, and reinvent, and so as a dad, we're going to have to, you're going to make mistakes. And there is not one, this is not a how-to book on how to be a dad. There is no step 1, step 2, step 3. There is no one size fits all. And, and just like your detours in life are going to be similar, but different. And I think the most important part of it is, how do you model that for your kids? I think that's as a principal, I think the biggest, one of the biggest obstacles in some of my students' life was because they didn't have that dad in their life who taught them how to handle the struggle, and that you're not always going to make the team. You're not always going to make the grade that you want. You're not always going to be the biggest or the fastest or the smartest, So how do I handle that? And who else is going to tell them how to navigate that? But but if there's no man in the house, no dad in the house, and thank God for moms and aunties and grandmas who have been carrying the load. But where are we? Where are the dads? So one of the biggest things we can do is teach our kids how to handle when we come to the fork in the road, or the road changes on us, or we get off on the wrong exit. How do we readjust and get back on path and handle the detours of life?
Well said, my friend. Well said. Jeff, we could talk all day. Definitely going to have you on, hopefully around Father's Day, where we could talk some more about this. But something that you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask you about?
Oh, wow. Let's see. Not really. I mean, I think we covered it. I mean, and I think we even mentioned this. I think if somebody was to ask me what would be that one thing, and like someone in the audience may say, "My gosh, this guy, what does he what would he do if he could only do one thing? And I will say this: one of the questions you asked in the pre-podcast questions was my favorite title. And before I became dad, I was a husband. And we hope that's the way it goes. Normally, it's how I usually used to explain to my students. Okay, here's graduate from high school, go to college, or into the workforce, or the military, get a job, get married, then have kids. Okay, and if it can work if you get those out of order, but life is a lot harder. I said, if you need me to repeat that, let me go back. And it's high school, job, college, military, marriage, then children. But sometimes it doesn't happen that way. But I would just say that if I could do only one thing, it would be, again, to be just the dad coach, and just to, but all of those things, being a dad and being a husband and being a principal, well, really outside the home, principal, coach, all those things are gravy, but they don't matter if you're not the husband and the dad that God's called you to be.
Yeah. You talk about your wife a lot in the book. 43 years married to your wife, Kay. Congratulations, Jeff. I knew I was going to enjoy my time with you, and it's very inspiring, and it's very motivating for other men to say, you know what, he's right. Let me suit up and get rolling. So let's get to rapid fire, Jeff. I got some dad responsibilities after the podcast. So, that was my daughter calling saying,
"Hey, those are the calls you usually answer." Yeah,
she knows I'm with you, so her time is there. But these are rapid fire, Jeff. These are quick questions. The first answer that comes to mind. Are you ready?
I am.
Let's roll. What's the last book you read?
I read The Coaching Habit by Michael Bungay Stanier.
Last movie you went to?
Oh my gosh. I can't remember the last time I went to a movie, but I can tell you the last movie we just watched which is a classic, The Field of Dreams.
Oh my God. That's one of my favorites. And that's a dad story.
Oh, it is. It is.
That's a dad story.
It is. Absolutely. Reconciliation.
Last concert you went to?
Foreigner.
Wow. Favorite dish?
Oh my gosh. I'm in Texas, so I gotta say barbecue.
We went to the place in Austin last weekend. My God, it was fantastic. All right, man, this is controversy here. I'm sorry. Ohio State or Texas football?
Oh, there's no doubt. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. The Ohio
State University.
I love it. How do you manage that in Texas?
And in Texas, it used to be the whole Southwest Conference was in one state. So there's a lot of now I'm a Cougar. My son went to University of Houston. So there's a lot of, and then I'll graduate from St. Houston, and now they're Division I. And so there's a lot of division, within the state of Texas. In Ohio, even if you went somewhere else, when the Buckeyes are on, you watch the Buckeyes. Yeah. They're the national team of Ohio.
I love it. Favorite place to travel?
I would say that Greece was my favorite place to travel. Yeah.
That was beautiful. Your karaoke song?
Okay, Leonard Skinner, "Call Me the Breeze."
Ooh, okay. Are you a karaoke singer? Are you actually getting up and doing it?
I was a karaoke singer recently, but not. I don't. It's not something I regularly do.
If you were not in the field of education and you're doing a lot of things now, what field would you have gone into?
Ministry.
Yeah, you're doing a heck of a job with it now. 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. I feel fill in the blank.
I feel excited because, especially in the fall, it's game day, And so the anticipation, I love fall. And yeah, we it hadn't got here yet, even though we're technically on the calendar, we're day 2, I think, day 2 or 3. But we got a little tease of the weekend a couple weeks ago, but it's still a little warm here. But I love Saturdays. I love the anticipation, of game day, and just the crispness of the air in the season.
Go Buckeyes there. Is there something about Jeff Springer that people do not know about? One of your players, Greg Wyckoff, is watching. Give him a shout out. Something about Jeff Springer that people don't know about.
They probably don't know that although I can't carry a tune, I in high school, college, and even today, I like to write song lyrics. And so I used to have a whole notebook full of them, and I don't know what happened to them. And but I even wrote lyrics to "What Is a Dad." I know that's surprising, but I'm trying to find somebody to put that to. I have a couple former students that are in country music and been on the the Voice and a couple of things, and trying to get them to put some music to it. But we'll see one day.
Beautiful. This is Jeff Springer, friends, coming to us from Magnolia, Texas. Author, minister, Suit Up Ministries, play expert, teacher, coach. I mean, Jeff, you're really doing an incredible job. I am thoroughly inspired here, and I know our audience is as well. Jeff, why don't you end us with a quote here to bring us home?
I have so many. One of my favorite, the quotes that my kids know me by, students for 34 years, is every day on the announcements, I would say, "It's a great day to be alive." And now when I would speak to audiences like FCA, I would say, okay, well, here's the rest of the story. The rest of the story is that Psalm 118:24, "This is the day the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." Now, I couldn't say that over the PA, so I would say it's a great day to be alive. And but my favorite historical quote is Winston Churchill, and my dad shared this with me once. I remember it, and what he said, that to be the recipient of luck, one must be prepared. And so many times, good things happen to people, but because they're not prepared, they don't know what to do with it. I mean, look at people that win the lottery. All of a sudden they go from no money to all this money, or NFL players, or people that make it rich, but they have not had the preparation in their life to handle their change in their prosperity. So again, to be a recipient of luck, one must be prepared. Winston Churchill.
Great quote, Jeff. This is Jeff Springer, friends. You can learn more about him at The Dad University, www.playmoretoday.org. And he's all over social media. So he's just Google Suit Up Ministry, The Dad University, and The Silly Grandpa.
The Silly Grandpa.
Jeff, I got twice as much gray hair than you, so you're doing a few things right here. So kudos.
Well, again, I'm blessed. You got to keep moving. Just have to keep moving. But you look good, brother.
We're trying, man. We're trying. Surviving and thriving, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Well, I appreciate you, Jeff. Good luck in the talk. This was a lot of fun, and we are going to sign off here on Education, Leadership, and Beyond. Check out Jeff again in the show notes, and certainly check out Dad Prep 52 Leadership Lessons, Preparation for Legacy. Jeff, well done, my friend.
To God be the glory.
All right. You stay on the line a sec. We are going to sign off. If I could help you in any way, don't hesitate to reach out. Keep rolling, friends. Keep surviving and thriving. Jeff Springer, friends. Keep rolling.